happening.
No, Lily, it's fine. All right, Amanda will post my bail. Promise you, I'll get to New York.
Oh, well, hello, you two. Oh, can the day get any better? Are you okay?
How far away am I from this place?
Welcome, my dear listeners. Stay with me to get the spoilers first and subscribe to the channel. Let's find out what's going to happen on The Young and the Restless. Patty Williams is everyone's new favorite weapon. Genoa City is one conversation away from total chaos. Monday's Young and the Restless is one of those episodes where everyone's smiling for evil, every compliment is a threat, and everyone in Genoa City seems to be using someone else as a pawn. And at the heart of it all is Patty Williams. The crazy part is she has no clue how many people are pointing her like a loaded weapon. Jack Abbott thinks he can use her to get revenge on Victor Newman. Cale Abbott thinks he can set the trap and not get burned. Victor finds Patty useful because she can help keep Nikki Newman out of his bed. Patty herself believes she is entering some sort of tender, dangerous new relationship with Jack. And what about Diane Jenkins? Diane watches from the sidelines as the whole mess goes up in flames and knows the marriage she fought for could be going up in smoke right in front of her. Meanwhile, Nikki is making her own power move. Lily Winters is sitting on a secret she probably shouldn't be sitting on alone. And Victoria Newman is about to walk into Billy Abbott's home and discover that his life has changed in a way she was never prepared to see. Genoa City isn't just tense at the end of the episode. It is practically quivering. The trouble begins at Crimson Lights, where Patty Williams finds Jack Abbott and immediately begins working every angle she has. She doesn't come in softly. She enters with that strange and creepy mix of softness and manipulation that makes her so dangerous. Patty calls Jack out of waiting for a woman who is dead inside, and the moment she utters, "If you can feel how much she has chosen to play this game," and she says he still has his wedding ring on. She leans close, she rubs his shirt, she whispers of the magic between them. Patty is not flirting by chance, she is tasting him. Of course, Jack tries to keep a little distance. He tells her that their chemistry was chemically induced, not destiny, but Patty doesn't flinch. She says that she wants to befriend him. It's the kind of line that sounds caring if you hear it too quickly and sinister if you hear it twice. She wants Jack to stop pretending that he is still holding on to Diane when, as far as she is concerned, he is already halfway out the door. Then Cale Abbott walks in and sees enough to realize how dangerous this is. Cale doesn't take long reading the room too close. Patty leans too close, Jack not shutting it down first enough. All of it 1 bad second away from catastrophe. The minute Patty shuts off, Cale turns on his father and gives him the business. Cale warns Jack that it's not a strategy to flirt with Patty Williams if he is serious about fighting for Diane. This is suicidal. What if Diane came in? What if Patty had taken Jack with her? What if all of this is proof Jack has lost his touch for fighting for his marriage? For the first time in a long time, Jack looks tired of pretending. Basically, he says Diane has just given up on him. Those gifts she's been sending don't seem romantic anymore. They feel like stalking. That's a brutal thing for Jack to say, because it reveals how far gone his marriage is. He is not talking of healing anymore. He is talking about survival, and then when he says that the real plan is revealed, Jack and Cale don't just want Patty, they want to use you. This is the dangerous genius of the Abbott man's strategy. Jack explains to Cale that Victor Newman will never see the attack coming for him. That's why Cale needs to be the one to go to the offense directly. The real target is not Patty. The real target is Victor. Jack and Cale plan to make Patty Williams a weapon aimed squarely at Victor's heart with on very specific target, Nikki Newman. It is a cold, ruthless plan and it would be terrifying, except it's so ridiculous in how perfectly it fits Genoa City. The Abbotts aren't just trying to fight Victor, they are trying to make sure Nikki doesn't go back to him again. They know the best way to do that is to humiliate him, to break his confidence, to make sure his marriage loses whatever small footing it still has left. And what better way to do what then? With Patty Williams, the woman who has dragged, abducted, and tormented people before, Jack figures he can control Patty. Cale thinks he can contain the attack. Patty is Victor's present, he thinks. Patty thinks she is falling in love. That's the joke no one's laughed at yet. Over at the GCSE, Victor Newman is already demonstrating he considers Patty more than useful, he considers her entertaining. He sees Diane and starts making fun of her right away. Victor gloats that he has destroyed her marriage. Diane snaps back, neither has Nikki been rushing to him exactly. Victor, smug as ever, says he is winning everywhere that matters. Diane in turn tears into him because she knows exactly how much damage he has done and how little he cares. And then Patty comes in. The total temperature of the room changes. Patty tells Diane she just talked to Jack and they have grown closer. That's enough to send Diane right over the edge. Jack will always want me more. She shoots back and storms out. It's a cruel trade-off because it puts Diane in a very position she is feared most, watching someone else circle Jack while she is forced to stand outside the circle and wonder whether she ever really had a chance. But Patty's not finished. As the second Diane leaves, she turns to Victor and says Diane will be sleeping alone. Jack will soon be back in her arms. Rather than being alarmed, Victor actually raises a glass to her. He tells Patty that she is a gift that keeps on giving. She says she has surpassed his expectations. Patty, grinning like she is just on a prize she barely comprehends, says she is nowhere near finished. That's when the episode really tips into lunacy. Victor considers Patty one of his assets. Jack thinks Patty can be steered at Victor. Cale believes he can help direct the attack. Patty senses she is on of the way to a real connection with Jack, and Diane is the only one to really see that everyone is lying to themselves. This is the sort of situation that can only end badly. Patty Williams is not a plus. Patty Williams is a bit of a wild card. She is a woman who can be coaxed and encouraged and manipulated and praised into a disaster which no one can fully control once it gets going. Victor might think he is using her, Jack might think he is outwriting her, but the real danger is that Patty always appears to be one heartbeat away from deciding that her truth matters more than anyone else's plan. That's doubly true when Jack starts to pitch the idea that she might help him shake Victor loose from Nikki. It's not just about revenge in their heads. It's all about leverage. If Victor feels Nikki is slipping away, he will react. If Victor does something, Jack can make a move. If Jack can make a move, Diane might finally get the sense that Jack is fighting for her, not waiting for her forgiveness. But that's the problem with all this. Nobody in this story is telling the truth anymore. Meanwhile, Nikki herself is making a power play of her own. As she sits down with Claire Newman at Crimson Lights, Claire is trying to figure out what's next after Victor probably won't let her back at Chancellor. Nikki, in a move that is both altruistic and shrewd, suggests Claire could start a non-profit in Catherine Chancellor's name or help Noah with his new club. Then she drops the real pitch. Claire should run for Chancellor. That was not a casual suggestion, that's a huge move. It is also the kind of thing that can turn a quiet cafe discussion into a corporate earthquake. Lily Winters overhears the whole thing and immediately flashes back to her own deal with Victor. Her face gives her away before she even speaks. Nikki, overhearing, leaps up and apologizes. But rather than letting the moment die, she turns the tables on Lily and asks what deal she made with Victor. Lily is lying. Her only deal was to teach Kane Ashby a lesson, but Nikki doesn't believe her for a second. She doesn't push right away, but she definitely files it away for later. And that's the scary part. Nikki Newman doesn't forget what her persona looked like when they lied to her face. Lily may have weathered the moment, but she has not escaped the trouble. The conversation about the Chancellor is important because it shows how desperate Nikki is to reshape the future. Claire as Chancellor would be a way to develop a new power center outside the Newman-Victor war. It would be smart and graceful and hard to handle for Victor, but Lily's reaction suggests there is already another secret deal in play, and the minute that falls apart, it could blow up whatever alliance Nikki is trying to force. And that brings the episode back to yet another emotional landmine, Victoria Newman. Victoria goes to Billy's to warn him what the fake Phyllis evidence has his name on it. Billy maintains his hands are clean. Victoria warns that it will be Billy's decision about what matters, not the DS. They argue over Victor. Victoria picks her father over her backbone and Billy calls her a coward. Victoria snaps back that Billy is a selfish ass. There is nothing subtle about the scene, nor is it supposed to be. Then Shelley Spectra walks in. Victoria sees the engagement ring on Shelley's finger and forces a smile so fake it almost hurts. She congratulates them, but the second Billy says they are having a baby too, and Victoria's expression changes. That's different, she says. And it certainly does. Now Victoria is looking at her ex-fiancé, the mother of his children, the woman he once built a life with, and she is not just seeing him moved on. She is seeing him moving toward a whole new family. Shelley isn't just wearing the ring, she's got Billy's baby in her. That turns a bad surprise into one that changes your life. Victoria is visibly shaken, though she tries to hide it, because this is the moment she realizes that this chapter she thought she had closed may have closed without her ever really processing it. Of course, Shelley does not know the full power of that moment. She asks Billy what she just walked into. Billy says she didn't want Victoria to find out like that, which tells you all you need to know. Nobody in this town really wants to be the one to deliver the blow, but the hit still happens. By the end of the episode, every corner of Genoa City is ablaze in a different way. Patty is at the bar, smiling at some scheme she doesn't understand. Victor is toasting her like a valued comrade. Jack and Cale are about to make her into a weapon. Diane watches her marriage die right there. Nikki is recruiting Claire for a future that may already be sprinkled with secrets. Lily's trying her ass off to keep her own deal under wraps. Victoria is trying not to break down after seeing Shelley's ring, hearing about the baby. And there is Billy standing there blissfully or foolishly sure that love is enough to hold it all together. It isn't. Because Monday's episode isn't about one relationship failing or one family winning. It's about every single character in Genoa City being used or misled or emotionally blinded by someone that they thought they understand. The best example of this is Patty Williams. Everybody thinks they have the weapon. Nobody knows the weapon has a mind of its own. And when Patty finally realizes she is not the one doing the manipulating, the damage is going to be spectacular. And that's the part no one in Genoa City is ready to face. Because the real danger isn't Patty being used, it's Patty realizing she's being used. And the second that switch flips, everything changes. Because in my view, this isn't a clever strategy anymore. It's a ticking emotional bomb, and every single person playing the game is standing way too close to the blast. Jack thinks he is guiding the cows, but what happens when cows stops listening? Cale thinks he's smarter than his father, but what happens when Victor decides to prove him wrong? And Victor off. Victor thinks he is already winning, but isn't that exactly when he is at his most vulnerable? And let's not ignore the quiet storm building underneath all of this. Lily's lie, because that didn't just protect her, it planted something dangerous, something that will come back, and when it does, it won't ask your permission. So here's the question that really sticks with me. Who loses control first? The people pulling the strings or the one they are trying to control? And another one you cannot ignore. When the truth about Lily finally comes out, who pays the price for that silence? Because if you ask me, this doesn't end with a simple betrayal, it ends with multiple lives colliding at once, and someone getting caught in the middle who never saw it coming. I wouldn't be surprised if Patty flips the entire board, exposes more than anyone planned, and turns this strategy into a full-blown emotional collapse, right when Victor thinks he has everything locked down. And the scariest part, we are only one conversation away from that moment. So stay close to the story because the next move might not belong to Jack or Cale or even Victor. It might belong to Patty, and that's when things truly spiral.